better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch is brought to you by Nedbank.
All right, it's 2 p.m. Central African time. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nedbank Business Watch. It's the 3rd of September. We promise you a good and very insightful show. My name is Sifiso Ngumalo, and I'm not alone. I'm with Notsile Sitole. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Sifiso, and a very good afternoon to our viewers, and may I welcome them to the edition. In fact, let's just call this week's edition of Nedbank Business Watch our special coverage of the Eswatini International Trade Fair. Now, the buzz is electric. The energy is high and opportunities are flowing for local businesses. At the heart of it all is the Nedbank Green Zone, a space designed to power the future of business through sustainable finance, innovation, and environmentally friendly solutions. Today, entrepreneurs, investors, and industry players gathered to discover how green finance can unlock new markets, boost competitiveness, and create jobs for the future. We will be taking you inside the Nedbank Green Zone to learn about the opportunities available and understand how this initiative fits into the bigger picture of building a resilient and green Eswatini.
And indeed, as Notsile mentions, that is what we have for you on the show today as we look at Nedbank Group sharpening its focus on environmental sustainability, I beg your pardon, through green financing solutions that power projects driving the transition to a green economy. Now, at the Eswatini International Trade Fair, the momentum only grows louder, from Nedbank's Green Finance Seminar to government's launch of a 1.35 billion Malangeni production incentive, and of course, an export guide that is unveiled by the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority. Now, we want to look at what all of this means for the local economy with our economist, Sanel Sbia, who is going to join us here on the show this afternoon. We are looking at the real impact beyond the lights there at the trade fair, as well as beyond what is being said. We want to look at really how it affects your pockets as well as your life. Otherwise, it's 3 minutes after 2.
Let's get into our business news, shall we?
Yeah.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Four minutes past 2. This is Nedbank Business Watch. As promised, let's have a look at some of our business news.
First story: collaboration, risk sharing, as well as networking are all essential pillars of a successful business. Now, these are insights that were shared by Dr. Derek Samuels of the Derek Samuels Leadership Institute in the United States of America. It is an organization that specializes in professional and management development training. He was speaking at the Business Leaders Seminar that was held at the Happy Valley in Eswatini.
Don't be afraid to bring the best you have in the marketplace. I also share with them the importance of risk taking. One of the challenges I've found in Africa is that we are not good with sharing risk. We tend to be going solo, doing the thing by ourselves. No, we need to learn to share risk. I also share with them the importance of collaboration, partnership. Very important. You are who you meet. Go meet people. Also, it's very, very important. Networking is important. I also share with them the importance of self-discipline. It's important because you don't have a public place until you have a private place in place.
Different industry leaders have stated that this seminar is especially critical at a time when the country is placing strong emphasis on economic development.
We live in fast-changing times. Everything is moving too fast, and we as business leaders, we need to think ahead. We need to be ahead. And this seminar is just basically amplifying the fact that we need to move together as groups, as partners, because it's not just a seminar about teaching vision and velocity in the marketplace. It's also about collaborations and partnerships, and I believe we live in times where we need to move as a group.
I'm currently involved in the development of the Citizens Economic Empowerment Regulations, which seek to empower Eswatini to take advantage of the economic opportunities in the country. Whilst doing that, it is important that we frame our people in terms of mindsets, to not settle for less, to strive for excellence. So today is about avoiding stagnation.
The seminar is meant to support the government as it actively promotes economic growth by supporting businesses through a range of reforms and initiatives. Key efforts include the implementation of the National MSME Policy 2024-2029, which aims to formalize and grow small businesses, and the Citizen Economic Empowerment Act, which prioritizes local entrepreneurs. The government is also investing in digital infrastructure, easing business registration processes, and improving access to finance. Reporting, Nelswen Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Ezulwini.
The Central Bank of Eswatini has provided guarantees totaling 246 million emalangeni to 1,919 small and medium enterprises (SMEs). This was revealed by Vuyiswa Vilagati, Credit Guarantee Officer at the Central Bank, during the trade fair. She stated that since the fund's establishment in 1990, banks and non-banking financial institutions have extended loans amounting to 290 million emalangeni as of June this year. She gives details of how SMEs can access the Small-Scale Enterprise Loan Guarantee Scheme.
What happens is that the SMEs apply through the commercial banks and the NBFIs. What happens is that then the institutions will then come to the central bank to apply for the guarantee. Okay, as long as you are a Liswati, and if you're under the youth fund, you are the age of less than 35 years. And also we assist startups, and also we assist existing businesses. When I say startups, I mean those businesses that have the dream, so they want to establish the dream and make it a reality. And also we have the existing businesses, those that have probably more than a year operating, so they can also benefit under the scheme. Basically, all Eswatini can benefit under the scheme, regardless of the age. Basically, those documents that are required when you apply for a loan in the commercial banks or in the NBFIs. But the basic documents that are required include the business plan, your cash flow projections. If you are a company, we have the formal documents, which include your Form J, your Memorandum of Articles and Association, the Certificate of Incorporation. If you want that loan for an order, you definitely have to have quotations. So I'm just stating some of the documents, but a full list is normally obtained from that institutions that should be applying at. The maximum loan that you can get under the scheme is up to $1 million.
All right, and those are just some of the business news shaping the business climate today. We'll go for a break. After that, we're in conversation with in-house economist Zanele Sibia. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. The Eswatini International Trade Fair is buzzing with opportunities. Nedbank Eswatini kicked off with a green finance seminar to power local businesses in the green economy. And the Ministry of Finance, of Commerce, Industry and Trade, launched the 1.35 million Malangeni Production Incentive Scheme 2.0. The Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority unveiled a game-changing export guide, and there are still more opportunities to explore. As the trade fair runs until Monday next week, economist Sanele Sibia joins us now to break down the trade fair's impact on the local economy. Sanele, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for making time. It's quite interesting, when we look at everything that is, undertaking there at the trade fair. And the trade fair is often seen as a showcase, but beyond the exhibition and the speeches, what does it reveal about the real pulse of Eswatini's economy right now, given that all these things that we have mentioned now? It seems as though Sanele Sibia is facing bandwidth network challenges on his end. We hope that he can reconnect and we can have this important conversation with him. But just to give you a lowdown what we are trying to discuss, the economic pulse of all these developments that are undertaking at this year's trade fair. Of course, Nedbank, Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority, as well as the incentive that, a fund that was announced by Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangwa Khumalo. Mr. Sibia, I hope you can hear me now. I just want to learn how you chime into all these announcements that I have announced, that I have just read through, I beg your pardon, that were announced at the trade fair. All right, let's take a quick ad break. We'll try to reconnect with our economist.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience.
Welcome back. We connect again with Sonilus Bia telephonically now as we discuss the Eswatini International Trade Fair, which is buzzing with a lot of opportunities. Nedbank Eswatini kicked it off with a green finance seminar to power local businesses in the green economy. And then the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade launched the 1.35 Emalangeni Production Incentive Scheme 2.0. And then the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority unveiled a game-changing export guide. And there are still more opportunities to explore as the trade fair runs until Monday next week. Sanele, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. If we look at all these developments, how do they really trickle into the economic pulse of the kingdom?
Thank you, Mr. Ngumala. Good afternoon to the viewers. So when you look at the way this year's International Trade Fair has been curated, it does just, go towards the fact that you are both showcasing and marketing, while at the same time you have to be cognizant of the fact that the client is not only just an end consumer. Business in itself is also a client to some other businesses as well. So the way it's been curated this year, it does seem to be a trade fair that focuses both on business networking opportunities and while also at the same time focusing on that consumer spend, while also looking into the sectoral investment and overall how we can as a nation come together and witness the number of projects and initiatives that the government and the different ministries are actually executing to ensure that we are able to grow the economy and, unlock the economy to that over 70,000 visitors expected. And we know that, now with telecommunications and live streaming, this is going to go across the board. And if you look at that green financing seminar by Nedbank, that also in many ways speaks to the trajectory that the kingdom wants to take in terms of the energy space. We know that the economy cannot survive and cannot survive without energy, and going green is the best way. And we've seen, the evidence is coming out showing that green energy in the long run ends up costing less than, those fossil fuels. So I think what I'm looking into right now is I see that the country is showcasing and putting her best foot forward, while at the same time, trying to show the path that we want to take as a country, in terms of empowerment of the youth and, just invigorating business and industry as well.
I want us to focus on what Nedbank did, because they kicked things off with green finance, that seminar there. And, the significance as well as sustainability of green projects as they take center stage in development. Do you see this as a turning point for local businesses?
Precisely, Mr. Ngumalo, because what we've often found to be a problem with, going green was actually the financing component of it, and actually, finding a bank or a financier that is going to say, if you want to take this route, I'm here for you and I'm going to work with you through that process. So that has somehow stalled the adoption of green technologies, more especially within the energy sector. In terms of sustainability, Mr. Ngumalo, green projects, as I've already preluded in my foregoing statement, is, the science coming out of the climate change and climate change spectrum is when you look into green energy, Because initially the argument was it's going to be quite expensive and quite costly compared to the fossil fuels that we are used to. But, now the energy is coming out, the evidence is coming out and showing that, green energy is becoming cheaper on the marginals in the long term. And with so much research and development that has gone into it globally, it has then become relatively quite cheaper. So yes, it is a sustainable energy path and it's a sustainable business, while at the same time it's also sustainable for the environment. So you are able to grow an economy, sustain the environment and, break into new untapped territories, because this is what this also speaks to. It's a new untapped territory, the green energy space for businesses to tap into.
Yeah, and then when we drill into the lens of the Production Incentive Scheme 2.0, and we focus on what the ministry has done there with that 1.35 million Emalangeni Production Incentive Scheme. From your perspective, how much impact can such a fund make in stimulating production? But most importantly, I think the question that I want to pose is, where should its focus be to avoid being spread too thin?
Thank you, Mr. Ngumalo. So I think on that scheme, for me, it's a beautiful initiative. And, and the fact that it's going to go through Eswatini Industrial Development Corporation somehow shows that we want this 1.35 million to focus on, reinvigorating industrialization in the country, and more especially the manufacturing sector there and, your textiles industries. But for me, the one that is a bit of a problem is we don't understand if it is just 1.3 million for everyone or 1.3 million per company. So if we can get a clear understanding of that, then it becomes relatively easier to, to map the impact of such initiatives. But when you look at it in the long and short of it, it is going to go a long way in actually making sure that our SMMEs, the lower end spectrum of the production, the lower end spectrum of the production fraternity get access to this finance, and then thereby building more capacity to become financed for even bigger projects, right? I would actually just, for me, say, if we're to focus on, say, your textile sector, there's a lot of potential within the textile sector, more especially through what you would call a cottage factory, where you decentralize the production and make sure that you can push that where people can do it in the, in the comfort of their homes, in their backyards, in their own cottages. Those small factories, that's the approach that quite a number of countries have taken. And also the reason I quote and I focus on this sector is because South Africa has done quite a lot in terms of empowering their textile industry. So we also do need to infuse the funding and make sure that we get our textiles industry to operate at a level at which they be competitive in the regional landscape and also in the global landscape. And then also in manufacturing generally as a whole, we do need to grow that base as we are seeing this transition in the economy towards the services space.
So, Spear, thank you for your time. He is chiming into these new buzzing opportunities that have been announced at the CS Trade Fair 2025 happening down there to Mavuso. We'll go for a net break. You're watching Nedbank Business Watch. We'll come back with an important Nedbank segment. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You are still watching Nedbank Business Watch. On to this now. As the Eswatini International Trade Fair hits day 6, Nedbank Eswatini continues to make a strong impact. From day one, they have been engaging with the public, showcasing innovative products and services. We caught up with Zama Dlamini, head of branch networks and personal banking, to talk about their presence at the fair, their support for the Green Zone, and everything Nedbank. Let's tune into her conversation with business journalist Nelsiwe Ndlangamandla.
Zama, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Can you briefly tell us about what Nedbank is doing at the trade fair this year?
Thank you, Nelly. This year at the trade fair, we are focusing on green financing. We're focusing on sustainable energy. We have set up the Green Zone, which is our stand outside Hall 1 on the grass, and where we are offering customers an experience of going through their green livelihood and also how we can support them in terms of commercial and sustainability from a long-term perspective. So we will be offering things such as solar financing, hydro financing, as well as normal financial needs in terms of consumers, but we will also be primarily focusing on the SMEs as well as our corporates. On the 2nd of September, which is today, we have hosted our Green Seminar, where we've invited a subject matter expert from the Nedbank team to talk to us about what the sustainability looks like for the future, as well as the role that Nedbank is playing in the space.
We have heard that Nedbank has injected about 250,000 to the Green Zone. So we want to understand, why is this initiative important, especially now?
So this partnership or sponsorship with APA aligns to our strategy. It was important for us to reposition ourselves as a green bank and reposition ourselves as sustainable and preferred service providers. We want the consumers and businesses to know that we are also part of their journey in terms of supporting them with their financial needs and solutions, and also that we are conscious in aligning to the sustainability goals as a bank that wants to provide for the future generations in terms of sustainable working methods, as well as good practices in terms of green financing, if I may call it, or climate and sustainability awareness.
I know that you've touched a bit on the seminar that you will be having, but I want you to delve deep and talk to us more about some of the topics that you will be having during the seminar.
It's important for the bank to actually create awareness and impart knowledge to the regular consumer as well as businesses. We've invited subject matter experts to the seminar, which include your regulators such as ESERA, Environmental Authority, Eswatini Environmental Authority, as well as EEC, together with our subject matter expert who will be talking about sustainability. We want to equip Eswatini to be aware on what is expected. If you want to get off the grid, as an example, what are the proper practices in doing so, and what are the regulations you should follow? I think we want to also demystify for Eswatini exactly what would be the expectation should you want to scale your business using such technology, which is more sustainable for your businesses.
Talk to the viewer at home, Zama. They may be coming to the trade fair, so why should they choose Nedbank?
We as a business are expertise. We call ourselves experts. We are experts who do good. We are experts in financial assistance. We are money experts, and we are comfortable to say that. So Eswatini should certainly visit us so that we are able to assist them. They provide or they advise their needs or their wants, and we will certainly assist with the financial expertise. At the trade fair, we are offering our full suite of banking products, from loan facilities like we've spoken, the green financing, whether you want to buy an electric car, whether you want to improve your business and or your household, we've got the solutions for you. Whether you want to extend a home and or buy property, or in terms of commercial property finance, we are offering that. And for the normal consumer, we are also offering your basic current account in terms of transactability. We want to show you how to use the app. We also want to show you how to take care of your money in terms of spending and budgeting, because times are tight in terms of our pockets these days.
Before I let you go, Zama, I want you to remind the viewer at home of where you are situated at the trade fair, as well as where they can find you after the trade fair. Share your contact details.
Our customers and all Eswatini can find us at the Nedbank Green Zone, as we've termed it. We are on the green field opposite the Hall 1. We are also available even after the trade fair at all of our branches countrywide. They can also drop us an email at our help desk line, which is helpdesk@nedbank.co.za. They can also find us on our social media pages, being Facebook and LinkedIn. In terms of our contact details, you can call us on 3278 1999, which is our help desk line as well.
Zama, thank you so much for joining us on the program. It's quite interesting to learn what Nedbank is doing, and I hope that the viewer at home is very much interested in coming to your stand at the trade fair. I mean, the Green Zone is such a big initiative to support. Siyabonga kakhulu kuba nathi ehlelweni lamuhla.
Right, interesting conversation there. While on Nedbank sustainability, the Nedbank Group continues to demonstrate its commitment to environmental sustainability by offering green financing solutions in support of green projects. Speaking at the green financing seminar hosted by Nedbank Eswatini during the trade fair on Tuesday, Mokhadi Maloba, sustainability lead at Nedbank Group, highlighted the various initiatives the group is undertaking to promote and support the transition to a green economy.
Without a planet, without equality, without social protections, we can't operate as business. So if there's no rain, if people aren't able to buy, we don't all exist. Nedbank doesn't have a purpose anymore, right? And really for us, it's about commercial differentiation. So whether you're in South Africa, you're in the rest of Africa, we are known as a green bank. So people who are dedicated to the space have done it. Nedbank has started this journey for over 35 years, right? So we started in our affinities through partnership with the WWF South Africa, and now we've gotten to a place of commercializing our ESG credentials. And that's really what I'm here to talk to you guys about how we have managed to do that work in South Africa and the rest of Africa where we have space, and we're really looking to partner up with Eswatini, the government, as well as the businesses, as well as the individuals who operate in this space. So here are purpose principles. So we fully understand the role that banks play. We are not the farmer. We are not the property developer. We are not the miner. We are not the manufacturer. Our job is to finance the people who do good so that we can drive the strategic direction, right? And it's an explicit commercial agenda. We operate within the space of this is how business works. Business works to make money. So it's not a nice thing to do. It is how do we make money grow, transform, and become better. So from a climate and nature approach, there's a couple of things that sort of guide where we are. Our strategic value unlock is around creating positive impact from a social, environmental, and from a governance view. And that is guided by our climate position statement, nature position statement, and our sustainable development finance inclusion criteria. And all of those tools help us in how we manage our operations, how we do institutional and external capacity building, how we are supporting our clients to transition, because we are very aware that we as a continent have contributed the least, but will be the most impacted by climate change and nature. So therefore, we can't have any of our clients, any of our businesses suffer. So we need to help them transition. So that's supporting, but we also understand we need to have investments in the newer industries in the economy. So we are looking at it from a full value chain point. We're not trying to copy and paste what happens in the West because we understand our context, right? the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, we have prioritized 17 of those that look into sustainable finance, our own operations, as well as corporate social investment. So when you look at the journey of Nedbank, right, like I said, initially, environmental things were seen as CSI. So you had the affinities, green affinities, where we had a lot of the Rhino projects. The people who've been here longer know about them, supporting a lot of the communities in terms of building. And we have found that that has allowed us to become a differentiator. For that to become a differentiator, right? So one of our biggest goals is to make sure that 20% of our book by the end of this year is dedicated to sustainable development finance, right? And at half year, we were at 19.6. That equates to 189 billion rand that we have actively invested in sustainable finance. And that includes green buildings, lending in the agricultural space, green finance from SG7, and financing for clean water, which is important, right? Because when you look at how climate change is going to and is currently affecting Eswatini, and you guys being an agricultural hub and manufacturing hub, it is in these issues where we have strategically built internal capabilities and are market leaders, not only in South Africa, but in the rest of Africa. So in doing this, we understand we have to do less of the bad stuff, right? So we have built a glide path, which is a way for us to systematically reduce investment into our more, because they're important, I don't want to make anybody feel alienated, but our more intrusive and very high impact industries. So we are going to systematically see how we're going to reduce our investment in thermal coal, power, and then increase power generation in the greener space, and also how we're going to reduce our exposure in terms of oil and gas. So again, very strategically, very intentional, not just following the hype. This is how we promise ourselves and continue to be purpose-driven in how we continue to be a market leader in this space. So, like I said, from a purpose offering, this is what we have done. So you will see that traditionally the corporate social investment wheel was sitting traditionally, as you see, education, community development, sports, arts and culture, and employee volunteerism. But you see the green economy part has become bigger, a bigger part of the chunk, meaning it is how we are starting to build the pipeline for green economic investment. So as many of you would know, if not, but a lot of these new industries do not have a viable business case. So because we understand and see that, we are now investing in small SMMEs through grant and concessionary funding to make sure that we're building the pipeline for them to get right through to our full value chain, right through to our corporate investment banking, right? At a retail point, we have an other platform where we do solar and water solutions that we offer in SA and some of our other regions where we have partnered up for the full value chain in terms of installation, maintenance, as well as refurbishment. And this is one of the things, and this we've been able to have 1.59 million users, right, be able to be added to this. This includes for people in our home loans, but even our staff. And when SME point, I've spoken about it, where we have had a lot of investment and support for over 318 small businesses. And we have helped a lot of our book in terms of sustainable finance actually sits in the solar space, where we have been able to help a lot of clients, because we also have the same issue, right? Load shedding didn't start here. We've had it for a bit longer in SA. So we have found a way to make SMEs more resilient. And not only that, but also that helps us in terms of cutting and understanding how we reduce the issues, the pressure on our base load. And then in terms of social investments, we have had, we've built, we have now launched the Social Impact Unit, which is commercializing this catalytic funding. And in terms of an input point, we have over 300 million invested and 153 green economy projects funded. And I'll give you an example of one of the ones that we have done from the beginning and is now a fully viable business. There's a company called Eswatini Water. And they came in the beginning, and it's a water kiosk using macadamias to clean the water. They started small, they are now distributed around South Africa and running as part of our SME business. Those are the kind of investments we're trying and looking to replicate in Eswatini and the rest of Africa. We have won many awards, being known as the best sustainable finance bank in Africa, top JSE firm listed, and we continue to be known as the best employer in Africa as it relates to sustainable finance employee value proposition. So, like we said, corporate investment banking, we have over 40 billion in the past year, have 40 billion in renewable energy exposure. And we have 2.5 green loan utility facility for solar to scale it, affordable housing at 3.2 billion, and have now launched ESG advisory and transition finance for our clients. And even with our asset book, with our asset management business and wealth business, we have launched products that are looking to invest in social and social and clean and climate action, right? So going back to the green economy strategy, which I think is important for a growing region such as yourself, which is built around the 4 pillars about water, energy, waste, and building the circular economy for rural communities and allowing for youth entrepreneurship support. This is such a pivotal thing for this agenda, because it's very easy to focus on the big, large-scale businesses, but that means we don't fix one of our bigger issues as the African region, which is inequality. When you've seen AI come in, when we've seen new business come in, people have been left behind. So what we are doing here is to intentionally make sure that as the green disruption happens, we are bringing our people with us. So this is one of the things that in the SME space, you can come to Nedbank and say, I have a green entity. This is the support I need, and there's funding. We don't necessarily do the work, we fund the people that do the work. So there's a number of partners we have, like Further, using the YES program, where we understand that, again, we are not the doers, we are the funders of the doers. So it's about you making sure that you have a credible business plan that is solving a societal issue, allowing us to continue to invest to create a better world. So in terms of surface offering, I've spoken largely around the community and early stage funding, but really I want us to talk about the retail and motor solutions that are being offered through AVO, where SMMEs, and even you as a person, additionally to your home loan, you can now add these services where if there's a water issue, you would have Jojo tanks, but also you would be able to get this. And we're also able to help you if you've got access power to help you put it back onto the grid in places like South Africa where it's allowed for wheeling points. So again, partnering up with the clients to make sure that they have got multiple revenue streams. In terms of agriculture, we've partnered up with the likes of Agrico on things around shade netting, sustainable irrigation, and also how we can do research in terms of supporting indigenous farmers, but to make better and more sustainable and regenerative agriculture, which traditionally, if we're going to be honest, is how we've always farmed, right? Western farming was introduced, but traditionally we've always farmed in a sustainable way. So it's about returning back to self, and this is how we support that. In terms of green services, we are doing the large-scale work, like I said, so it's in terms of investments, but also in terms of creating different products. We're a market leader in the space. We are one of the first to have a JSE-listed green sustainability-linked loans, and we continue to lead in this space. So we believe in partnership, and that's why we're all here, right? We can't do this alone, and we continue to partner with people like the WWF for over 34 years. It remains. And we also continue to want to support the just transition. So whoever is equivalent of a WWF, whoever can do the advocacy work, we want to partner up with you so that we can make sure that our money from a CSI point goes to supporting the right kind of projects, because you guys are at the grassroots level and we would never be able to identify all of those people. So that is really another strategic thing that we are doing to make sure that we are putting purpose into practice. So impact examples, we've got 75 million watt solar farm that in the Eastern Cape, in the Eastern Cape and the Northern Cape that powers over 120 households. And in terms of sustainable agriculture, we have seen an uptake in shade netting, which is looking at how hot it is now and you have limited rain. So we actually put the investment to make sure that your crops are being covered and they're being invested for. We're making sure that you are having the right kind of irrigation systems to support the crops that you have, but also the water issues in the area that you're in. But also we are doing it at a large scale where we are partnering up, like people like that, here would be Eswatini Water, but for us, THC, we have actual partnership with them, whether it's through the Makole there by Lopan in Mudimule, or whether it is with the Lesotho Highlands project. We are strategic partners in those kind of conversations. So we have the expertise, we have the skills, and we can help you guys find a way to become more resilient in how you guys manage your solar and also water issues in the country. And we have SME green technology adoption. So again, we have partnered up with a lot of key partners who help us to understand what is available in the market. So even if you don't have the idea, you are able to come into the bank and say, I am looking and this is an idea that I'm having. We help you expand the idea. So the grant funding doesn't even start when you have the idea. It's, I think I can have the solution, and we help you build the idea. So again, making sure that we've got the entire finance value chain from beginning right through to the end. So why all of you guys should continue to partner up with us as our clients and future clients is sector expertise. Nobody comes close. Everybody tries, but we are the best in the business. We have robust ESG risk frameworks, and we do provide regional support. So a lot of these things have been replicated in Namibia, in Cote d'Ivoire, we've seen it in West Africa. These things can be done because it's a matter of plug and play, because we've built that capability, and we are purpose-driven. We are not doing it because it's a nice thing to have. We're not doing it because it's good PR. We're doing it because we make money from it. Therefore, partnering up with us means you also get to make money. So, call to action is come together. Like I think Bongani spoke in the beginning, it's going to require all of us getting into one room and having the conversations. What are you doing? What's available? What's happening? It's going to require us being able to make sure that the businesses that you want to build are able to be funded at every level, and also making sure that nobody's left behind.
Right, we've just heard there from Mohadi Malobe, Sustainability Lead at Nedbank Group, highlighting initiatives the group is undertaking to support and drive green financing. Stay tuned. This is Nedbank Business Watch. We do have our market analysis segment coming up immediately after this. Welcome back now for our market analysis segment. I am joined by Bongani Mabuza, who is the head of treasury at Nedbank. A very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for coming to the studio. I'd like to perhaps start here. We saw the gold price hitting rather an all-time high, $3,500. What does this signal for you, or perhaps global markets?
Yeah, thanks, Nazila. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your viewers. It's a real pleasure to be here. Yeah, you're right. The big story in markets today is really about gold, right? And as a result, it's affecting what's happening in FX markets, what's happening in equities markets, what's happening in fixed income markets. There is a flight to safety, if you may term it that, in markets right now, which has seen the gold price reach all-time highs. As a result, as you said, we reached over 3,500 for the first time yesterday, and we continue to go up. And I think that's a result of fear in markets. And at the back of that, there's a big sell-off in bonds. So previously, if market investors are uncomfortable with the risk in equities or other riskier assets, they would flight or shift towards bonds, towards buying bonds. But now there's a lot of fear also amongst bond investors. As a result, there's a sell-off in bonds across the world. So if you're selling off bonds, which are deemed as safe, the ultimate safe asset is gold. So that's driving the move towards gold.
Right. Due to the uncertainty, and OPEC Plus is actually considering supply increases this weekend. This is after a dip in oil prices. What does this mean for investors in terms of the figures? What are we looking at?
Yeah, 100%. So there is a consideration by OPEC to increase the supply. But in the back of that, there's also a risk that the market is pricing in. So the market is pricing in the possibility of further sanctions levied by the US on Russia. And as a result, you saw a big increase even in the price of oil, of Brent crude yesterday. The numbers we're seeing today is that oil is a bit softer, but it's coming off a high yesterday. And markets are waiting to see what OPEC is going to decide. All else equal, if you have an increase in supply, you should expect prices to come down. But if you then see a further levying of sanctions towards Russia, which is a big supplier, you're going to see a constraint in the global supply, and therefore you might see higher prices.
While we wait on OPEC, what are the numbers looking like today in terms of commodities?
Yeah, thanks. So in terms of commodities, you saw, as you mentioned, gold price hitting above 3,500. We're currently at 3,542, which is up about 0.25% from the same time yesterday. Brent crude is down 1.25%, but as I mentioned, this is it's down today, but it was up quite a bit yesterday. I think the big news will come after the OPEC meeting happens, and also as a result of developments coming out of the US, if the US decides to levy further sanctions on Russia or not. We will see. I think there's a lot that's happening there with the US and in Asia, particularly with the parade happening in China. We'll see if there will be any policy decisions that stem out of that. But as it stands, this is how the markets look, and I think the commodities markets are really pricing in a lot of the fear that is currently in markets.
Right. With the parade rather in China, we saw leader Xi Jinping, Putin and Kim Jong-un meeting. Yes, there's probably not much of a discussion or an agreement or any policy changes, but these are world leaders. Anything could just happen. Their appearance on their own could just shift markets. But how are Asian markets reacting to this? Is there optimism over this get-together?
I'd say what the markets are reading is as you say, there's not much policy decision that has come out of this meeting as yet. But what the markets are reading is what the repercussions would be, particularly from a US perspective. So that's what markets are really waiting to see happen. So we saw Asian markets from an equities perspective have a sell-off, but this was in line with the rest of world markets. I think as a result of the flight towards safety being gold, as we said.
All right. In terms of the equities now, how are the figures looking this Wednesday?
Yeah, no, thanks. We saw a continued sell-off in equities, and this is, the story is the same. Rising bond yields because of a sell-off in bonds. If there's a sell-off in bonds, there's a sell-off in equities. The S&P 500 was down 0.69%. This is, I think, from a US perspective, this was led mostly by the technology companies, which dragged the index down. the standout from a US perspective was really Alphabet and Apple, which were up 7% and 3% respectively. In the case of, in both cases, it's a result of Alphabet winning a court case, which allowed it to use Chrome as a default browser in Apple, and Apple gets to receive, continue to receive a $20 billion payment from Alphabet annually. So Alphabet doesn't have to divest or sell off Chrome, which is good, and the market responded positively to that. In the case of Apple, the further news from an Apple perspective was that you saw the AI research lead in Apple being poached away to Meta. So that sort of dampened the stock. You sort of expect that it might have been up even more than the 3%, but otherwise markets were flatly down. From an SA perspective, the FTSE and SA, the JSE All-Share Index were also down in line with global markets. I think the standout from an SA perspective was that we saw results from ShopRite, which were very strong. And I think for the first time, ShopRite singled out the online sales from the Checkers platform, which is showing that those sales they exceed the market cap of SPAR and Pick n Pay. It just shows how
SPAR and Pick n Pay combined or
individually,
okay.
Which just shows how strong a franchise ShopRite is. The ShopRite as a group, but also with the companies in the Checkers, etc. So yeah, I think that was quite interesting. Strong margins still across the group, and they continue to be efficient and they continue to grow.
Right. Now, with the sell-off in bonds and a spike when it comes to yields, let's look at currencies. If you're an investor, what would be your picks right now?
Yeah. No, thanks. Look, we saw. I'll just start with dollar emalangeni, right, which was at 17.63. Which is down 0.35%. We saw the currency strengthen quite a bit because we opened markets this morning at 17.73. So it's up about 10 cents on the day if you look at from an Lilangeni perspective, but the dollar is weak. You saw the euro against the Langeni also down 0.19%, about just 0.1% today, and the pound is the exception here. But I think what is in terms of a pick, it's a bit hard to tell because of the volatility of markets. But I'll just look at what we see here are day-to-day moves. But what's important to see is the trend, right? So the Langeni against the dollar, as an example, is up close to 7% year on year. Okay. So it's showed quite a bit of resilience, quite a bit of strength. Yeah.
Right. Bongani, thank you very much for your insights. That was Bongani Mabuza, Head of Treasury at Nedbank, filling us in on some of the numbers or markets making today's trade. This has been Nedbank Business for us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until the next edition, take care.
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch was brought to you by Nedbank.
Hey Eswatini, are you ready to experience TV like never before? From the 29th of August to the 7th of September, Eswatini TV is broadcasting live from the International Trade Fair, bringing you Digital Transformation 2.0, reloaded and redefined. Swing by our stand to meet your favorite personalities, snap those perfect pics for the gram, and soak up the VIP treatment you deserve. This isn't just TV, it's Eswatini TV, home of home-brewed content crafted right here for you. And